Hello everyone, how's it going? My name is Gemma and welcome to the third video in my Baybayin tutorial series. Today we're finally going to learn how to write in Baybayin, write the Baybayin characters. Magsusulat sa Baybayin. So let's hop into it. There are three basic strokes that a lot of the character set can be built on, so I'll introduce those first. The first is the ya stroke. That's what I'll call it at least. It's a little tick up, then it curves down, and then it sweeps back up at an angle, and then another downward tick. If you look at it from an angle, it should be kind of symmetrical. Again, an up tick, then down bar, and then a up at an angle, and then down again. Next is the half stroke, which is a curl one way, and then a curl the other. A curl one way, and a curl the other. You might see different variations that go up at an angle or that relax almost to the point of just being a wavy line. But that's the half stroke. And lastly, the U stroke, you do a tick into the number 3 and then extend the tail out a little bit. In some characters, it'll show up without the first tick. But that's the basic shape. Now to go through the character set, go 6 characters at a time. A, ba, ka, da, ga, ha. The letter A is a ya stroke with 2 lines through the top part of the left side. Again, that's a ya with 2 strokes through the left side. You might also see some variations online that kind of change the shape in some interesting ways, but it should all still be recognizable as the A character. Next is the Ba, which sadly does not use any of our basic strokes. It's like a circle where you start at the top, but do an indent at the bottom before completing it. You might see it as an upside down heart, or like a cardioid shape. Or you could start at the top and do the left stroke, and start at the top again and do the right stroke. And different variations you might see would kind of start at more of a point and maybe even tilt it slightly to really look more like an upside down heart shape. Next is the Ka, which is one half stroke, another half stroke, and a vertical line to connect them. Ha, ha, and a line to connect. The Da character, you start with a Ha, and then you sort of go underneath it into a Ya character, a Ya stroke. You might even see it as a Ha into a bigger Ha underneath. And different styles will tell you to do one stroke before the other. Skipping over the Eval, we'll do the Ga character. That one will take an U stroke without the first dash into a sort of Ya character but cut short. You might look at this and see the number 32. And then the Ha is the Ha. Hooray. The next set of 6 letters. I, La, Ma, Na, Nga, Pa. Again, skipping the O. You'll see why. So the letter E doesn't use any of the basic strokes, but it's a horizontal line and then a wavy one underneath it. You'll usually see start at the bottom and make 2 bumps. Or maybe you'll see start at the top, go down, and then make 2 bumps. For the la, you take a ha character, kind of relax it on this side, and then do an u underneath. A ha with an u underneath. The ma character, you'll take a ya, but sort of write it a little bit, if you can, and then a stroke that goes all the way across. You might look at it and see an upside down A. For na, you'll take a half circle, a half dome top, and an u character inside or underneath it. Half dome and an u underneath. For the nga character, you'll make this sort of horseshoe shape. You can maybe think of it like a ha and then a reverse ha underneath. And then this hook thing. Now, different styles will do less or more of the hook, even stretching it out until it looks like an u character. But this kind of hook should be fine. Should be just fine. For the pa, you'll take the ya character, stretch the right side up a bit to make space for a dash coming out the right. Like that. It's almost the reverse image of the a character, especially in different styles. And then the last set of characters, the last set of 6, ra, sa, ta, u, wa, ya. For the ra, for this version at least, we'll take the da character, which is a ha and a ya, and then have a dash at the bottom. For the sa, we'll take a ya character and then an u character coming out the side. It looks kind of like the letter V3. And you might even see versions where it's still connected at the top. Next is the ta. You take a ha, and then you just go down at the bottom. It looks really similar to a cursive letter T, or also to the first half of the ra or da character. U is an u. You may have the little dash inward. For the wa, you take a ya character, except instead of going down at the end, you curl back in. Curl back in. Some people like to emphasize the height. And lastly, ya is ya. Some people like to curl the end in a lot to the point where it makes a full loop. Now with this, we should be able to write some basic names. Maya. Let's do Paula, and Ilaina. So for Amaya, we have the a, and then we have the ma. But if you notice, it comes with the a after it. So that's already this taken care of. And the next character should just be the ya. For Paula, similarly, we have the pa, then the u, and then the la. And Ilaina, the I, la, I, na. Now the next step is changing the vowels, because what if we want a consonant that isn't followed immediately by the letter A? So here we'll use kudlets. The kudlets are the diacritic markings that I mentioned earlier in the first video when we were talking about abugida. So here we have a plain ba character. If I wanted to instead make it say the B sound, we'll put a dot at the top. If we want it to be bu, we'll put a dot at the bottom. And if we want just the b sound, maybe at the end of a syllable or right before another consonant, Blake maybe, then we can cancel it out by using a cross kudlet. This cross was most likely introduced during the Spanish colonial era. So an alternative that a lot of people prefer is this line. That one's called a virama, or a pamudpod, rather. The virama is just either marking that cancels out the vowel. But the pamudpod, there have been signs of it showing up before Spanish colonial influence, so a lot of people prefer it. And of course, what about the letters and o? I didn't include them in this chart, and I didn't include them here. The reason is, in Baybayin, it's just the same character as I and U respectively. The front vowels are grouped together and the back vowels are grouped together. It takes a little bit of interpretation to figure out which vowel is intended. So with this vowel manipulation, we'll be able to write the names Johannes and Emmanuel, and let's do Simonas. So yo, that's the same as you, and then ha, ni, s. I, ma, nu, I, e. Here I'll choose to use the cross kudlet instead of the pamudpod because Emmanuel is a rather Christian name. And lastly, si, mu, na, s. Next, I wanted to highlight some specific letters, the nga and the ra. The ng sound doesn't show up in a lot of names, and be very careful that you don't just use the nga character where you see an N and a G, because in names like Angel or Ginger and such, it doesn't actually use the ng sound. That would be rendered as angel. Even in this name, you might see it as Angeles or Angeles. It's very rare that it would be pronounced Angeles. But it did appear in Angeles, just like how it'll appear in song, which is the su, and then the with the vowel cancelled. A name you might see often, very common in Vietnamese, is ngu, ye, Nguyen. 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 As for the Ra character has a kind of thorny history because before Spanish colonialism, it was likely just a sound change that was still encapsulated as the da character. That's why the character is just only a mark away. We still treat it like a normal letter if we choose to use it. But you might see people use this archaic letter that kind of died out, that used to represent the Ra. It shows up in Unicode, the historical Baybayin section. And you might also just see people decide to not include Ra at all and just use a different character that is similar. Come back to that next video. So 2 more names that include the Ra and the Nga. We can do Sterling and Ingrid. Starling, sa, cancel the vowel. Da, r, cancel the vowel. Li, cancel the vowel. And Ingrid, we'll make it I, cancel the vowel. But if you notice how I pronounce it, this is something you would hopefully have caught as you were respelling it according to the rules from the previous video. The ga is a sound that appears, and so it should be represented as a letter. So ingrid. Cancel the vowel again. Now, we'll do some names that have letters that aren't in the Tagalog alphabet, and we'll see how those might have been rendered. So we'll do Felix, we'll do Quincy, let's do Victor, let's do this one, and this one. Felix, pretty straightforward. The fa turns into a pa. The e is pronounced I. And then li. And the x gets broken down into the k and the s. Quincy will take the k. The next letter would be the wa, so I'll cancel the vowel of the ka and then write in the we. Cancel the vowel. C. Victor, I'll choose to use the b approximation. So b, k, to, re. Victor. Next, this name. Of course, it depends on pronunciation. If you chose to say George, then we'll use the da, ya. For the first j sound, jo, and then the ra. And then for the second j sound, since it's at the end, we'll instead do the d, s. George. There's only one vowel present in the entire name. If instead the name was pronounced Jorge, and that would show up like this. The ho, re, he. Lastly, this name. I would look at this and say Michael, so I'll write ma, ye, ke, l. But you might have looked at this and instead thought Mikael. So first here's Mikael. And if you remember from the discussion of diphthongs, there is actually a glottal stop in between. So this would be pronounced Mikael or Mikael. If you wanted a smooth vowel transition, then instead you would use the ya character. I forgot to cancel the vowel there. This one would be Mikael or Mikail. Or maybe you might just not include a vowel on the ya, and then it's Mikail. So there you have it.